going on, YouTube? It's your boy Reid, #1 console player in the world, and I'm back with a new Season 6 updated settings video. So with the introduction of Season 6, there were a couple new settings that were added, so I decided I'm going to go ahead and remake this whole settings video, throw on the new settings, and re-explain everything that I use just in case anything's changed between now and the last settings video. So if you guys are interested in finding out what the #1 console player in the world uses for his settings in Warzone, stay tuned to watch the video. Well, first I want to take a moment to remind everybody that I am sponsored by G Fuel Energy. I do have my own code. Use code REID, R-E-I-D, on gfuel.com for any and all G Fuel related purchases. If you guys want to get cracked like me in Warzone, this is the way to do it. This is what I do. Now, on to the settings. I do have to point out before I start that these are personal preferences for majority of these settings. I'll explain the differences in each one when I break them down. I'm going to go through and explain to you why I do certain things, why I use certain settings, but just because I use these settings, copying them will not necessarily make you a better player. This is to just give everybody an idea of what somebody who plays on console and is good at the game uses to give you guys an idea if you're doing something right or wrong, or if you want to try something else out. Anyways, here we go. Button layout. So ever since Black Ops 3, when it was necessary to be able to jump without taking your thumb off the thumbstick, and I couldn't convince my parents to let me spend $200 on some kind of fancy controller, I've been playing on Bumper Jumper Tactical. I highly recommend it if you don't want to spend the extra money on a fancy controller. I do have a different controller, but I could use a default controller and do just as good as I normally do. I like the way this one looks, you know, nothing crazy. But yeah, so I play on Bumper Jumper Tactical. There's Bumper Jumper without Tactical. There's Stick and Move. Basically, you just want to be able to not take your thumb off the thumbstick while doing other actions. That's why some people play Claw. All up to you. This is the one that I personally like. Stick layout, I play on default. Inverted, some people like this on. I don't. I personally prefer disabled. Dead Zone, 0.03. Ideally, the lower you can get your dead zone, the better. The lower your dead zone, the more responsive your thumbstick is to your movements. However, if it is really low and you have a relatively older controller, it will cause your controller to drift a little bit and move on its own, and you really don't want that. There's some levels where it's bearable and it's not that big of a deal. Mine moves a little bit on its own, especially if I like open up the minimap, it'll just kind of drift to the side. I don't think that's that big of a deal. I like where 0.03 is on the dead zone. Personally, what I choose, again, lower is probably better. If your thumbstick drifts at a 0.1 dead zone or higher, it's probably time to get a new controller. Horizontal sensitivity 7, vertical 5. So when we went from jetpacks in Call of Duty to World War II, I went from people flying all over the place, up, down, left, right, I gotta look all over the place fast, to I never have to look higher than a second story window. I decided to try changing my sensitivity from 7.7 down to 7.5. I turned my vertical down, and I felt that it made it really, really easy to beam people off of head glitches, no problem. And I also felt like it made my sniper rifle pretty consistent in terms of not getting hit markers. It's kind of easier for me to fine-tune my aim to the upper body. So I've been playing on this for a couple years now. I don't advocate that you change your sensitivity too much. Pick one setting, stick with it, and that's kind of what I'm doing here. I've been playing on this for a long time. I like it. Even though in Warzone now, with people flying in the sky and really tall buildings, it would definitely be more beneficial, I'd say, to play on like a 7.7, an equal vertical and horizontal sensitivity. I'm not really going to change mine. I like it this way. Do I recommend you copy this idea of a lower vertical sensitivity? No. But again, that's personal preference, whatever you guys choose. ADS sensitivity, mine's on 0.8 low zoom, 0.9 high zoom. The higher on the high zoom is just because I'm using a sniper rifle. I need to be able to keep up with somebody if they're running like right across my screen like that. So that one's a little bit higher, 0.8. You see that I can kind of shoot pretty far away for somebody on a controller on a console. 0.8 helps with that. Aim response curve type linear. These are all personal preference, standard, linear, dynamic. It refers to how your thumbstick reacts to your movements. There's some kind of sciencey thing about it. You guys can look that up on YouTube if you want to know the exact differences. But again, these are all personal preferences. It's kind of how your brain reacts to your thumbstick movements. I like the way linear works. I've tried all three of them. Linear just feels the best to me. Controller vibration. I've been playing with controller vibration on ever since I picked up a controller. Never turn it off. Every time I try to, I don't like the way it feels. Majority of people turn this off right away. Most people play with vibration off. I'm just kind of weird on this one. Aim assist disabled. I don't cheat. Everybody knows that. I don't really feel like I need to explain that one too much. Weapon mount activation. ADS plus melee. When you ADS on a wall and you melee, some people have it set to double tap, where if you just double tap, you mount onto a wall. I don't really like that too much. I like being able to press 2 buttons at once rather than 1 button twice. Just ADSing, I don't really like that because if you're trying to strafe around a wall or something and then you move quickly and you randomly mount when you're expecting to strafe, it can mess up your aim and make you an easier target at the same time, so I don't recommend that. And mounting is super useful. In times it makes it so there's less recoil on your gun, so definitely don't want that disabled. Weapon mount, movement, exit. Yeah, when I'm mounted up on a wall, I want to be able to just move my thumbstick and get off of it. Aim down sight behavior, hold or tap. I think hold's better. I plan hold. Steady aim behavior, same thing. Hold it. These have been kind of natural settings for Call of Duty since I ever started playing. Equipment behavior, same thing. Hold. Contextual tap. So I played for the longest time. I just played on tap to reload or tap to use. Tap to use, hold to reload. I didn't realize that you could physically pick things up off the ground faster by playing on contextual tap. It does take a minute to get used to. There are times when you accidentally swap your gun, accidentally pick something up when you don't mean to. But all in all, you can literally grab things off of the ground faster if you play on contextual tap. It is a 100% advantage. I will say that if you have not yet switched this setting, you should do so. Completed ammo weapon switch. Yeah, when I run out of ammo, I want to swap to the other gun as fast as possible. Armor plate behavior. So there's the apply one or apply all option. For the longest time, again, I also played on apply one, where if you hold it, it keeps putting in plates as long as you're holding the armor button. Then I switched to apply all, and all you have to do is hold it so you start the animation, and then you can stop it anytime you want. But it will keep going, so that way you don't have to, like, if you have to take your thumb off the armor button to pick up something or to open a door or something like that, it doesn't, like, mess you up, and you don't have to, like, stop your armor and restart it again. So I definitely recommend you play on apply all. Slide behavior, tap to slide. This allows you to slide quicker around the map. It helps with movement a lot. Auto move forward. I definitely don't recommend you play this. It could very easily accidentally make you run forward. Automatic sprint. So this is one of the new settings. This is one of the new changes for Season 6 that I just changed. I'm not fully used to it yet because I have been playing for about 7 to 8 months now on automatic tactical sprint. That's how you see everybody's movement go super crazy. I just recently, compared to most other people, switched to automatic tactical sprint, but just after the new Season 6 update, I turn it off, and I'll tell you why in a second. Vehicle camera recenter disable. You don't want that messing your camera up when you're driving around. Parachute auto deploy. That is something that most good players will turn off. Granted, you will see some of the best players break their ankles every now and then. Even it happens to the best of us. When you have the auto deploy disabled, it allows you to get closer to the ground before you pull your chute, so that way you spend less time just stuck in your parachute animation of free kill. This allows you to get way close to the ground. It does increase the risk if you don't time it right, but it is definitely a better move in the long run to turn off auto deploy. Now, this is the new setting that they just added in Tactical Sprint, in the settings in Season 6, Tactical Sprint. I've been saying that they needed this ever since Modern Warfare came out and they came out with Tactical Sprinting. There's never a situation when I want to just sprint regularly if I could be Tactical Sprinting and run a little bit faster. I said I don't want to have to push my thumbstick down twice to go into Tactical Sprint, especially because that's what you need to do to be able to move, to hit next levels of movement. You need to be able to Tactical Sprint. I don't want to have to destroy my thumbstick by pushing down twice. It takes longer. It's bad for your controller. So I don't want to do that. So then they came out with this setting, single tap from run. I don't actually know what the single tap from sprint is. I didn't try that. Double tap is what the default was. Single tap from run basically makes it so that way when you press to sprint, you're tactical sprinting. That's it. Exactly what I've been asking them for. I switched to this. We're going to see. I'm going to use it for a little while. I'm going to get used to it. I definitely think this is the better move because with auto tactical sprint, you can't walk forward. Your options are either sprint with your gun pointed up in the sky or nothing, like where you can't move forward. If you're pressing forward on the thumbstick, you're sprinting. So this allows a nice middle ground where you can still walk forward, and then the second you click to sprint, then you're sprinting forward. There are times when not being able to walk forward is a negative instance. For example, when there are people nearby and you have to be quiet and move quietly, but you're still trying to move quick, you weren't able to walk. You either had to crouch walk, ADS walk, or tactical sprint and make a lot of noise. So this is the nice middle ground that I do enjoy. It also makes it way, way, way easier to use shotguns and akimbo weapons. Shotgun and akimbos were super hard to use on auto tac sprint, and now this makes them way, way more usable. Onto the general tab, brightness 60. These are kind of personal preferences. These go with your monitor and TV settings as well. Safe area, you adjust that for your personal TV film grain. Turn it off. Makes it easier to see things. Tooltips, I leave them on. Subtitles, I don't like them on. Some people do, especially with the numbers event. That numbers event didn't really bother me too much, so I just turned subtitles off. Language, English. Colorblind Type, I've been playing on Deuteranopia ever since the game came out. I just kind of picked one that I liked the way it looked, went with that. Colorblind targeting, both, so that way it goes both in-game and it affects the game, the way the game looks, as well as it affects my menu. Motion blur, turn these both off. It literally makes it so much harder to see things with motion blur on. Nobody who's trying to be the best of the game should have motion blur enabled. On-demand texture streaming, I just turn this all the way up. I have really high-speed internet, so this doesn't bother me. Minimap shape, square. You want square. As you can see with this little image, you can literally see more of the minimap with it set to square. Minimap rotation, this is kind of a personal preference on whether you want the minimap to rotate with your character or you want your character to rotate on the minimap. I leave this enabled. Compass directions, letters. Yeah, I like having the letters on so that way I can know exactly which way, you know, north, south, east, west, what my teammates are calling out. Kill feed time on screen. This is another quality of life change they added to Season 6. I like when the kill feed is super duper long. I don't want my kills disappearing off the kill feed. If I'm getting 6 kills in a short period of time, I kind of want that to stay up there. So I just turn it up to extended. We'll see. I don't see this. This leaves it on for 60 seconds. As you can see right there, kill feed stays on screen for 60 seconds. I like the way that this looks. We'll see if it bothers me at all. I don't see it making a difference, but just kind of more of an aesthetics kind of thing. Text chat, text screen. I don't want text popping up on screen. Definitely don't want a sound alert. But I do want the text chat enabled sometimes. I don't want it to pop up on screen, but I do like it in the bottom right. Like I can see right now, somebody invited me to a game. Profanity filter, I gotta leave that on. I stream all the time when I play. I don't want weirdos saying no words. Gore effects, gore is not gonna bother me, so I leave that enabled. Game installs and credits right there. Audio, now I'm gonna say I don't necessarily recommend you copy my audio settings. I can't hear anything in this game. I can never hear footsteps. I'm very bad at that, so either way, I don't really like chaining my audio settings. I don't like the way it sounds when it changes things. I've tried a bunch of different things. Nothing helps me hear things. But either way, I play on boost high, master volume 60. I don't want to go deaf. If anybody tells you to play with your master volume all the way super high up, I value my hearing more than hearing footsteps in a video game. Music volume, most people play with it down to 0. I keep it down to 5 just so you can hear a little bit when things get intense, just so you know, more like an audio cue when things are starting to get super intense. Dialogue, that's your announcer. 60. Effects. Now, I was told recently that effects is what your footsteps are. So I turned that. I used to play with it on 70. I turned it all the way up to 100. I don't feel like it makes me hear any better, but it didn't make things any worse, so I'll leave that on. Cinematics is campaign only. Leave it on 100. I don't really play campaigns. Juggernaut music. I'm never in a Juggernaut, but leave it on. Hit markers. I like the classic. Mono audio. This is another new setting that they changed. The mono amount. You can change whatever, but you don't want to have your mono audio on. Disable it when you're playing with a headset. Voice chat enabled, I leave it at 70. I don't speak in game chat. And a lot of people ask, why does everybody in game chat sound like they have such terrible mics? I play with classic chatter on, get that MW2 nostalgic feel going. I like the way it sounds better. It doesn't really make that big of a difference. And then finally, war tracks. I like them on. You never know when I want to get into a helicopter and jam out to some Skrillex or something like that. But I do want to turn it down so it's not deafeningly loud in my ear. Because if it is at 100, you can't hear your teammates talking. But yeah, I think that is overall going to do it. We've gone through every single setting, and I've explained why I use each one. I hope you guys thoroughly enjoy this video, and this does help you to become a better player. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to drop a like. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you never miss out on daily Warzone content, Vanguard content coming up soon when Vanguard releases. Thank you guys either way. You guys have yourselves a beautiful day. Read out.